From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
And it is 5 o'clock here on your Monday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
Lauren, good morning. I'm Rafael Sanchez, and here are your headlines on this August the 31st. Another violent weekend here in the Circle City. Metro Police investigating multiple shootings across Indianapolis, one deadly. What you need to know this morning.
Plus, today is International Overdose Awareness Day. Working for you, we're talking to one Hoosier family sharing their story in hopes of preventing another life lost.
And more help on the way for IPS families, where you can go if your student needs help with remote learning today.
We do want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. Rafael, thanks for joining us from down in Johnson County.
Lauren, good morning to you. And Lauren, congratulations to your dad who retired over the weekend. That's great news for him. And of course, he's a great guy. And ALYSSA Donovan, a great guy, deserves a great forecast. So can you help a brother out by celebrating his big retirement?
Yes, it's going to be a great day, to get outside after his retirement weekend. We have some more nice weather in the forecast today. Temperatures starting a little cool this morning. You'll notice that when you step outside. 65 right now in Indianapolis. A few cool spots on the map, though. We're in the 50s in Kokomo, Muncie, and we are still in the 60s in Greenwood and Bloomington. So just a few chillier spots, and that's because we do have that high pressure in control from the north. We have a small disturbance just to the southeast of us this morning. That's mostly going to veer off to the east, but we can't rule out maybe a stray shower for extreme southern counties yet this morning. But most of us are going to start the day dry and end the day dry, and that is because that high pressure in control to the north today. It looks like a more intimidating radar than what we really have. We're not going to see a lot of activity here in Indianapolis. Our chances of showers and storms really return tomorrow, and that's when we also have the potential of some severe weather in the forecast. Today, though, get outside and enjoy it. We're starting in the 60s by the noon hour. We'll be into the mid-70s. Those highs today topping out in the low 80s.
All right, ALYSSA, thanks. Let's take a look at traffic right now. This is down to our south I-465, just a little west of State Road 37, the Harding Street exit here. You can see traffic is moving along just fine. Still pretty quiet out there this morning. No issues traveling eastbound or westbound along the south side. So this morning, Metro Police are investigating multiple shootings. On Sunday, at least 5 shootings were called in, one of them turning deadly. Just after 7 last night, police were called out to West 30th Street and North Capitol Avenue on reports of a person shot. When they arrived, officers found an adult male suffering from at least 1 gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police have not released any additional information about this case. Earlier this month, there was another deadly shooting in the same area. The man was found shot to death inside of a vehicle. And then taking you over to the east side, that's where detectives are trying to figure out what led up to a shooting early Sunday morning. Officers responded to East Washington Street near North Kitley Avenue around 5 a.m. Police say one person was shot here at this location, and at last check, police say the victim is in serious condition. No other details have been released. As always, if you have any information, please contact Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
Lauren, on this Monday, we're shedding light on an issue impacting thousands of Hoosier families. In fact, the heart of our city is lit in purple as a reminder. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us live to explain why this day matters. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rafael. So as you can see around me right now on the circle, the buildings are lit up purple, and the IPL building reading OD awareness. All of this obviously for Overdose Awareness Day. It's a day to acknowledge the grief felt by families and friends whose loved ones have died from a drug overdose. Overdose Awareness Day also spreads the message that the tragedy is preventable. Last night, those who lost their lives to an overdose were honored and remembered at the Indiana State Museum. Overdose Lifeline hosted the event, and organizers say they wanted to give grieving friends and family members a place to be together and not feel alone. We talked to a couple who lost their 25-year-old son in June of last year to substance use disorder. A month later, their sister-in-law died from the same thing. They say they hope to help prevent other families from experiencing the same tragedy.
Erasing the stigma, it never meant as much as it has to us since we've experienced our loss, and now it's become more prevalent to ourselves, seeing how society has stigmatized mental illness and substance abuse now for many, many years, and we're slowly starting to see that be erased, but there's still a lot of work to do, right?
By families not discussing it, they're implying that there's something wrong, there's a flaw, a character flaw with their loved ones, when in fact, addiction and or mental illness, it's a disease.
Right.
It's a brain issue. And we were proud of our son.
Yeah.
He tried very hard, and we're proud of everybody that fights this battle. With this, there's often no care plan. With other diseases, there is a care plan.
A naloxone training session was held at yesterday's event, and organizers say it's especially important during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, according to the state, compared to last year, EMS has used 60% more, administered 60% more naloxone than they did last year. They're saying largely due to this pandemic. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you so much. A key day to remember. 2 Howard County healthcare facilities are no longer open today. More than 120 jobs are now impacted because of that. Sunday was the final day of the operations for Replay Physical Therapy Clinic and Community Howard Specialty Hospital. Community Health Network says it's because of the changing landscape of healthcare. But WRTV Investigates found that the layoffs and closures are happening even though the healthcare system got more than $200 million in federal stimulus money. Now, Community Health Network issued this statement to WRTV. It says, "We worked closely with impacted employees to match as many as possible to other openings within community. We've made every attempt to ensure that patients have a smooth transition to other quality care options within the community."
Turning now to the latest on how the coronavirus pandemic is affecting Hoosier lives. 6 new deaths were reported to the state health officials on Sunday. Since March, more than 3,000 Hoosiers have died from the virus. Health officials also report 880 new COVID-19 cases. That brings the total number of positive cases to more than 93,000.
So new numbers from Ball State University this morning showing more than 500 cases of COVID-19 on campus. That's 128 more than reported on Friday, when the university's president Jeffrey Mearns says if things don't change, he may temporarily suspend all on-campus courses or switch to remote learning for the rest of the semester. We spoke to one student who says most people on campus are taking the pandemic seriously, but for everyone doing the right thing, there are those who are not.
I would say it's like a 75-25 split. I'd say for the most part, most of the students are taking this pretty seriously. They're going out masked, and I don't see anyone taking it off. They're using the hand sanitizers that are throughout the campus. I actually had a friend of mine who said he was just driving through campus, and just on his drive, in his 3-minute drive, he counted 27 people without a mask on walking around campus.
Ball State's president says the increase in cases is coming from, in his own words, poor personal choices that some students are making primarily off campus. He also said the university is taking action against several students and 3 fraternities for failing to comply with safety guidelines and putting others at risk.
The time right now is 5:08. Starting today, IPS will have even more student support network sites open to help with that remote learning. IPS started the school year with 100% remote learning for all district students. The hope is kids will be able to return to in-person learning by October 2nd. The support sites offer a safe, structured place for IPS students to attend when families need a supervised environment for their children during remote learning. And starting today, the YMCA will be open to student support site at Carl Wild School 79 on West 34th Street, and the organization at your school will open up support centers at Robert Lee Frost School 106 on Roxbury Road and Broad Ripple High School on Broad Ripple Avenue. IPS parents and guardians will need to register their students in advance and arrange for transportation to and from the Student Support Network site that they attend. At 5:09, let's check in with ALYSSA Donovan on today's forecast.
And it's going to be a really nice day. We're starting the week very nice, but we do have a few hiccups as we head through the midweek. That's when we see the potential of some changes, showers and storms in the forecast. So get outside and enjoy today because we do have some changes on the way. Right now, 65 degrees in Indianapolis. So a mild start today, not humid just yet, but that humidity will build as we head through the day. Cooler to the north. We're still in the 50s right around Tipton, Peru and Muncie. So if you're up there, you might want to grab that light jacket as you head out the door this morning. You definitely don't need it this afternoon, though. Mostly sunny skies throughout the day. We'll start with a little bit more cloud coverage and then hopefully we'll start to see some sunshine peek through this afternoon. Light winds and then a little bit more humid this afternoon than what we saw yesterday. Yesterday was an extremely dry day. Looking ahead, tomorrow is when we have those afternoon storms back in the forecast. We'll continue to see the potential of storms really through Thursday, and then we have some much nicer weather to kick off your weekend. All of those details in just a few minutes.
Alyssa, a great forecast. Thank you. Next on WRTV, turmoil continues on the streets of Portland as the president and the mayor of that city exchange in a war of words.
And an Indiana lawmaker taking aim at violent protesters. The proposal from Representative Jim Banks that could lead to federal action against people convicted of crimes at protests. The time right now is 5:10. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It is 5:13. Oregon Governor Kate Brown is putting out a plan to try and bring some calm to the city of Portland.
And Lauren, this follows months of protest against police brutality and a deadly shooting over the weekend. Reed Binion has more on the city seeking calmness over chaos.
What America needs is for you to be stopped.
Portland, Oregon Mayor Ted Wheeler taking aim at President Trump Sunday, following a shooting death in Portland Saturday night after a caravan of Trump supporters rolled through the city, clashing with anti-police brutality protesters.
You've tried to divide us more than any other figure in modern history. And now you want me to stop the violence that you helped create.
Trump responded by lashing out at the mayor on Twitter, calling Wheeler a fool, among other things. Saturday night's shooting was caught on video. A witness said the victim, quote, sprayed mace and launched it right into the other guy. CNN has not confirmed if the victim is the person who sprayed the mace. According to New York Times reporter Mike Baker, the man killed was wearing a hat with the insignia of Patriot Prayer, a far right-wing group that has clashed with protesters before. Trump tweeted, quote, rest in peace about the shooting victim, while again criticizing Mayor Wheeler. Wheeler saying Trump inspired the conflict in the city.
Hundreds of cars filled with supporters of the president rallying in Clackamas County and then driving through downtown Portland. They were supported and energized by the president himself.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
It is 5:15. Despite a plea from the governor not to come, President Trump will pay a visit to Kenosha, Wisconsin tomorrow. Governor Tony Evers says he worries that the trip will fuel the tensions in the city. People have been protesting the police shooting of Jacob Blake for a week now. The 29-year-old was shot in the back 7 times by Officer Rustin Shesky after a scuffle. The White House spokesperson says Trump will be meeting with law enforcement and surveying the damage done during the protests that turned destructive.
Indiana Representative Jim Banks has introduced a bill taking aim at protesters. The Support Peaceful Protest Act would ban protesters convicted on crimes such as violence, looting, or vandalism from federal unemployment assistance. Protesters would also be held financially liable for the cost of federal policing. In a press release, Representative Banks said, quote, Antifa thugs are descending on suffering communities, disrupting peaceful protests, and leaving violence, looting, and vandalism in their wake. They've turned Milwaukee, Seattle, and Portland into war zones, and now they're moving the chaos to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Who knows which community is next?
The time right now is 5:16. The NBA playoffs are again underway after players reached an agreement with owners on a social justice platform. Part of the agreement means turning several stadiums into voting centers for the upcoming election. Athletes and sports teams have been vocal about racial justice and the importance of voting this election following the police shootings of Jacob Blake, George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor. Another part of the agreement includes establishing a social justice coalition that will be made up of players, coaches, and governors to increase access to voting, promote civic engagement, and advocate for meaningful police and criminal justice reform.
This morning, Wakanda Forever tributes and reaction continue to pour in for actor Chadwick Boseman. The actor, he died Friday after a 4-year battle with colon cancer. He's best known for bringing Black Panther to life and for the first time giving millions of kids around the country a superhero that looked like them. A memorial has been set up on Howard University's campus in Washington, D.C., Boseman's alma mater. The university's president remembering him as, quote, a deep thinker who had a deep passion for writing and uplifting people. Fans visiting the memorial at the school also agree with that.
I think we truly lost a superhero. I don't think that it's coincidence that Chadwick Boseman became the Black Panther. A role like that is fate, but he really left his legacy. He left his legacy for us to see and for us to learn from, and that touches me the most.
Boseman made 7 movies while quietly undergoing surgeries and chemotherapy treatments. Lauren?
And Raphael, Louisiana continuing to pick up the pieces after Hurricane Laura. In a briefing last night, Governor John Bel Edwards says that 6 of the 23 parishes have been approved for FEMA aid. The governor also says more than 17,000 linemen are working to repair the downed power lines and destroyed transmission towers, but stressed it's going to be a while before the power is restored to much of the state. At least 17 deaths in Texas and Louisiana have been attributed to that storm. Authorities say more than half of those people were killed by carbon monoxide poisoning from unsafe operation of generators. At 5:18, it is time for a check of our forecast back here at home as we kick off our Monday. Hey, Alyssa.
Hey, Lauren. And it's going to be a really nice Monday, but we do have some changes as we head through the week. So don't get used to the nice weather, because by tomorrow we are going to see the potential of showers and storms back in the forecast. Right now, though, 65 degrees, partly cloudy skies, humidity pretty low across the area to start our day. Those winds fairly light out of the east, about 7 miles per hour. So a very calm and pleasant start to our day. We do have some cloud coverage across the area, mainly to the south. And then you can see just around Cincinnati, we do have a cluster of showers and storms moving to the southeast of Indiana. Can't rule out maybe a stray shower making its way into southern counties this morning, but most of us are going to start today dry and will end the day dry. So what's going on is we have that system moving to the southeast of us. That's what's helping bring in a little bit of cloud coverage this morning, and that will help bring us some cloud coverage really throughout the day. But high pressure to the north of us is going to help break through some of those clouds, which is why we have the potential of some clearer and sunnier skies by the afternoon hours. That's also going to bring us some warmer temperatures. So we're going to see warm air continuing to filter in throughout the day as well, and a little bit more humidity in the forecast. So looking ahead today, mostly cloudy to start and then partly cloudy by the midday, with mostly sunny by the afternoon as we see some breaks in those clouds. And then overnight, we'll start to see more cloud coverage again. And we're also going to trap a little bit more moisture closer to the surface. So by tomorrow morning, we'll be starting our Tuesday with some patchy fog possible developing in the usual areas that we do see that fog develop. So if you are worried about your tomorrow morning commute, that's where we're going to see that worry with that fog. Looking ahead to today, temperatures are going to be in the 80s, and then we are going to continue to warm as we head through the day tomorrow. We're going to start building that humidity back in the forecast. That means the potential of some convection as well. So Tuesday, rain chances, just a small chance tomorrow morning as we see some patchy fog developing, and then our better chances of showers and storms will be in the afternoon and early evening. On Tuesday, potential of severe weather as well. We are under a marginal risk for our Tuesday forecast. Now, looking ahead today, temperatures starting in the 60s this morning, mostly sunny by the noon hour, and we'll continue to see really a mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day, just a better chance of some of that sunshine peeking through this afternoon and into the early evening hours. Looking at our 7-day forecast, 82 today, 85 tomorrow. Those storms moving in tomorrow afternoon and evening, continuing to see some stormy weather possible on Wednesday, and then heavy rain and possibly a thunderstorm or two possible on Thursday as a cold front sweeps through. The good news with that cold front is it's going to bring us some cooler weather and drier weather on the other end of it, which means by the weekend those temperatures are back into the 70s.
All right, that sounds pretty good, Alyssa. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is I-65 of you near 30th Street, north of the downtown area. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed, northbound and southbound. No crashes or lane restrictions here to slow you down. Raphael?
Here is a reason to smile for many travelers this morning. United Airlines says it is getting rid of some of its change fees forever beginning in the new year. So here are the details for all of you who travel. The new policy will apply to domestic ticket holders in economy and premium cabins. Starting in January, you'll be able to fly same-day standby or change flights for free. United is extending its waiver for tickets issued before then. Now, the waiver allows travelers to change flights as many times as they want with no penalty. Now, that's a deal.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, Raphael. So a Japanese company has successfully tested a manned flying car for the very first time. SkyDrive held a public demonstration last week. Here it is. The manned with a pilot, it took off and circled a test field for about 4 minutes before landing. The car has 8 motors for safety and takes up the space of about 2 parked cars. The company's CEO says they want flying cars to be a safe, secure, and comfortable new way of life in the future. The company plans to continue to develop technologies to safely and securely launch the flying car in 2023.
So, Lauren, you need to check this out. A groom's joke was met with shockingly close lightning strike. Why he says the moment perfectly sums up this year. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this Monday morning.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. So, Raphael, I think we can all agree that 2020 has not been so great, and maybe 2020 knows it. Yeah, I think it knows it.
So a couple in Massachusetts thought, why not hold their wedding, right? As soon as possible, make people happy. But check out what happens when the groom makes a joke about 2020 during the vows. Take a listen.
Let's face it, 2020 has not been the best year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was thunder, then lightning. The couple has had a challenging year, having to postpone their wedding 4 times due to the pandemic. What the heck? They also both lost jobs and had to move, but they've taken it all in stride, Lauren, with their positivity being rewarded. Once that storm passed, a lovely rainbow became the backdrop for their special day, which is good for them. But in all seriousness, when you hear lightning, you gotta get indoors.
That was scary.
That's a very serious issue. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a crazy story. It was like, don't you talk about 2020 that way.
Yeah.
Damn. That's a pretty rainbow.
Coming to smite you.
Yeah.
We are going to see some gorgeous weather today, but we have the potential of some lightning in our forecast as we head through the week. Today, though, 82 degrees for the high, mostly sunny skies. We'll see a little bit of cloud coverage this morning, but we should see some peaks of sunshine this afternoon. Looking ahead, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, potential of storms in the forecast, but then the weekend's going to be pretty nice. Those temperatures dropping back into the 70s with low humidity and sunshine. You're watching WRTV. We'll be right back.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
An investigation is underway this morning after 2 IU organizations say they were racially targeted. Now at 5:30, what went wrong and what university officials are doing to stop it from happening again.
Plus, substance abuse takes the life of a number of Hoosiers every single year. This morning, we're looking at how today is set aside to prevent more lives from being taken. Our Kelsey Anderson has a live report coming up. Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Monday, August the 31st. It is great to have you with us as we start this week. And Lauren, can I just begin with a quick observation?
Yeah.
Not to throw shade at our good friend Todd Clausen.
Don't say it, Ralph.
Time that our friend...
You be careful.
Alyssa Donovan. No, I was going to say the last time that our friend Alyssa Donovan was here, it was cool, it was sunny, and then when he came back, humidity, heat, we had to put on the AC, we couldn't go outside. I'm just saying, it's good to have Alyssa today, and Todd has some explaining to do tomorrow.
I mean,
yes.
Okay, you know what? I'll take that because you're not wrong.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Like, wow, Alyssa's back and we have a great day. Alyssa, wow, take it away.
Some of us just have that skill, I guess, that control over the forecast. And I've got a really nice one today as they are talking about a gorgeous day today. Starting in the 60s this morning, it's 65 in Indianapolis, 50s up near Peru, tipped in Muncie. And you're going to notice when you step outside, it's not very humid. That low humidity has stuck with us overnight, and that's partially due to high pressure just to the north of us. That's in control over really the top half of the state, and then just to the south of us, we have this system moving across the area to the southeast. That's going to bring us a little bit more cloud coverage for the southern counties. Can't rule out maybe a stray shower for south counties this morning as well, but most of us are starting today dry and will end the day dry. That high pressure going to continue to filter out some of that cloud coverage throughout the day. So we will see some peaks of sunshine later this afternoon. That humidity is going to build today as well. It's not going to be uncomfortable humid by this afternoon, but you might notice a little bit more later today, and that's just ahead of a system that will impact us tomorrow and through the midweek. We're going to see the potential of showers and storms tomorrow afternoon, possibility of some severe storms in there, and then we will calm down as we head towards the weekend. Today, though, it is going to be a great day to get outside. 82 degrees for the high.
All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now from our tower camera at traffic at the North Split. This is I-65 and I-70 here in the downtown area, and you can see everything is traveling smoothly, a pretty shot. And we'll continue to keep an eye on your roads and let you know if there are any areas you need to avoid. But right now, no trouble spots to slow you down. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated. Raphael?
Lauren, this morning we want to take you to Monroe County. An investigation now underway in Bloomington after two minority organizations at IU say they were racially targeted in Zoom calls. This happened during virtual student involvement fair meetings held by the IU NAACP and the group called Curls and Coils. Janae Coleman is the secretary of the NAACP chapter and says someone posted racial slurs during the Zoom calls. Students say people also interrupted the meeting and mocked the Black Lives Matter movement.
We did have some students that did want to learn about NAACP, but they felt uncomfortable as well, so they started leaving the Zoom call.
IU has released a statement calling the incidents racist and unacceptable. Indiana University Police and the University Information Technology Service are investigating the incident as well.
Now to continuing coverage of the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on Indiana. This morning, the state health officials are reporting 6 more deaths. Since March, more than 3,000 Hoosiers have died from the virus. On Sunday, health officials also reported 880 new cases, meaning since the start of the pandemic, more than 93,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19.
The Federal Bureau of Prisons says it's seeing a concerning uptick in coronavirus cases right here in Indiana. This morning, the Bureau of Prisons reports nearly 100 coronavirus cases at the federal complex in Terre Haute. 47 of those are at the minimum security facility. Another 47 are reported at the maximum security facility. Last week, there were only 12 reported cases at the Terre Haute complex. An Indiana woman is filing a lawsuit after her children who has had severe side effects from a recalled hand sanitizers. It's named 4E Brands in North America, which distributes Bloom and Hand sanitizer. The FDA said it contains toxic methanol, which can cause headaches, nausea, blurred vision, blindness, and seizures. The company voluntarily recalled the sanitizer back in July. The lawsuit is seeking class action status. The hand sanitizer company has not commented on the suit.
Time right now is 5:36. This morning, police in Tippecanoe County are investigating a drowning. This happened Sunday afternoon at Wildcat Creek Park. Authorities say an 11-year-old was swimming with her brother when she went under the water. The family searched for about an hour before a bystander called 911. The girl's identity has not been released. And police say a southern Indiana judge has died following a plane crash. The crash happened early Saturday morning in Lawrence County, Illinois, near Vincennes. Police say that Knox County Judge Ryan Johanningsmeyer was the pilot of the small plane. He was also the only person on board. Police realized there was something wrong when Johanningsmeyer did not land at the Illinois airport as scheduled. Officials say it was foggy when the plane crashed. The incident is now being investigated by the FAA. So there's a concern the pandemic has caused more people to turn to substance abuse to deal with the stress and anxieties of the moment. Raphael.
The city lit up in purple to bring awareness to drug overdoses. It's an issue that WRTV's Kelsey Anderson is shedding light on this morning. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren and Raphael. So as you can see behind me, this circle is lit up purple this morning, and on the IPL building it reads OD Awareness. All of this for Overdose Awareness Day. It's a day to acknowledge the grief felt by families and friends whose loved ones have died from a drug overdose. Overdose Awareness Day also spreads the message that the tragedy is preventable. Last night, Overdose Lifeline hosted an event to honor those who lost their lives to substance use disorder. Organizers say they wanted to give grieving friends and family members a place to be together and not feel alone. We talked to a couple who lost 2 family members to an overdose. They say the changes need to come from legislation.
The idea that somebody wants to get help, that's great in theory. There is a lack of insight for those oftentimes that have substance use disorder often have a co-occurring mental illness. If they have a schizophrenia or a bipolar disease, 40 to 50% of those lack insight to their condition. Add an addiction to it, and you have a potentially probable terminal illness.
Yeah.
So the fact that they have to decide to get treatment, that's basically letting them die, and that's unacceptable. We have to provide more services, more inpatient, more long-term inpatient. We have to make it easier for families to help.
A naloxone training session was held at yesterday's event, and organizers say it's especially important during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, according to the state, compared to last year, there has been a 60% increase in naloxone administered by EMS. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
All right, thanks, Kelsey. We are in for a beautiful day. Those temperatures starting in the 60s this morning, a very pleasant start. We'll also see a little bit of cloud coverage. Some of that will clear out throughout the day by the noon hour, right around 76 in our high today. 82 degrees with partly sunny skies this afternoon. That's just because as we head overnight, we are going to build in a little bit more cloud coverage. Tonight, our lows will drop into the 60s with partly cloudy skies. And then we are going to see some patchy fog developing for your Tuesday morning start. By tomorrow, we could see a stray shower in the morning. Really, the activity will start in the afternoon and evening tomorrow, expecting the potential of showers and thunderstorms. Possibility of some severe storms in there as well. We are under a marginal risk of that. And then we'll continue to see some showers on Wednesday and into Thursday.
Well, in 65 days, Americans head out to the polls to cast their ballots for the general election. Still ahead, the outrage building here on Capitol Hill surrounding in-person election security briefings.
Love that sound. Plus, Takuma Sato looking for back-to-back wins as IndyCar heads to St. Louis. We'll recap an exciting weekend of racing coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
Welcome back. The time right now is 5:43. Let's take a look at traffic here on the southeast side. I-465, a view near Arlington Avenue, where everything's moving along just fine early this morning. We'll continue to keep you updated if there are any trouble spots you need to avoid. Raphael.
In our Democracy 2020 coverage this morning, Lauren, a new showdown is now brewing between the White House and Congress. As
ABC's Inez de la Cotera reports, it follows a top intelligence official suddenly canceling in-person briefings about the threat of foreign interference in November's election.
This morning, outrage on Capitol Hill after the director of national intelligence announced a halt to in-person briefings on foreign interference in the election, saying the agency will instead brief Congress in writing.
You have leakers on the committee. Obviously, leakers that are doing bad things.
President Trump praising the move, claiming it was needed because Democrats leaked intelligence about Russian interference, but Democrats now threatening to subpoena Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe, forcing him to testify on election interference.
Yet again, another lie by the president. And, of course, as you point out, it's a logical inconsistency to say, well, we're going to put it on paper so it can't leak, rather than speak to the Congress.
It all comes as a new ABC News Ipsos poll shows last week's convention at the White House failed to give President Trump a boost. Less than 1/3 of voters have a favorable view of him, his favorability even dipping among Republicans. In contrast, Joe Biden saw his support among Democrats climb after his convention, his favorability among all Americans now at 46%. Overnight, Biden's team announcing his plans for later today in Pennsylvania. With fresh protests emerging around the nation, Biden's campaign revealing he plans to deliver a speech centering around the core question facing voters: are you safe in Donald Trump's America? President hitting back, writing that Biden's team is rushing him out of the basement after seeing some very disturbing numbers, while pushing his law and order message while in New Hampshire.
Those are anarchists, they're agitators. They're rioters, they're looters.
And this week, President Trump plans to travel to Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is at the heart of this new wave of protests in the aftermath of Jacob Blake's shooting. Wisconsin's governor asking Trump to stay away and not hinder community healing. Inez de la Cotera, ABC News, Washington.
Election officials from across the country are working together, sharing ideas on how to better handle the upcoming elections. Some are finding ways to expand access to voter registration, while others are testing out some new equipment or considering outdoor polling locations. And this comes as the coronavirus threatens to close or cut down hours to current polling places, and some voters facing the possibility of being stuck in quarantine when the election comes around.
Well, several doctors are asking the FDA not to be the only ones to review coronavirus vaccines. They're worried many people won't trust the approval after it's fast-tracked during this pandemic. The doctors want the public to trust the vaccine and be encouraged to get it, so they're calling for an independent commission from the government to be created. It would review the data from the coronavirus vaccine trials before it's allowed on the market.
Heartbreak along the Gulf Coast. Authorities say 17 people have now died because of Hurricane Laura. Health officials say a 57-year-old man died from head injuries sustained from a fall from a roof. Another person died of carbon monoxide poisoning. 3 people in Texas died of carbon monoxide poisoning who had a generator running. It is now time to check on your local forecast. The great ALYSSA Donovan filling in for TK Todd Clausen. ALYSSA, I hope Todd can keep up the streak tomorrow. If not, he's going to have some explaining to do here on Good Morning Indiana.
Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of leave him with the rougher part of the forecast tomorrow. Today's going to be a great one, though, so I get to talk about that. The humidity is building back in as we head through the day today and into tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon, those storms are back in the forecast, and we're going to continue to see the potential of storms through the midweek. And then by the weekend, that's when we have some nicer weather back in the forecast. Cool, dry, and pleasant weather. Just after a cold front passes, we are going to see some calmer conditions behind that. Right now, though, a mild start to our day. 65 degrees in Indianapolis, 62 in Lafayette, and 67 in Bloomington. There are a few areas to the north of us that are in the 50s this morning, and that's because we've had some cooler, drier air from the north as high pressure has moved into really the northern part of the state. But to the south of us, you can see we've had some of that humidity building in and that moisture because we had that system to the south. So Indianapolis is really right on the edge, which is why we are in the 60s this morning. Can't rule out a stray shower for southern counties as we start our day. Besides that, though, we are going to stay dry throughout. Just going to see some cloud coverage to start, but you can see that precipitation possible to the south of Bloomington and Seymour early this morning. That will clear out, though, quickly as we head into the noon hour. Continuing to see cloud coverage for areas to the south throughout most of the day. Areas to the north, you'll see a lot more sunshine, and Indianapolis is right on the edge of that, so we'll see a mixture of sun and clouds, possibility of a little bit more sunshine by the afternoon and early evening before we start to build in a little bit more cloud coverage and a little bit more moisture. And that's all because a system that's approaching, that's going to bring us more moisture, which means the potential of some patchy fog to start our Tuesday, and also the potential of those showers and storms by tomorrow afternoon and evening. And Indiana is under that marginal threat of some severe storms, so this is a good time to get that Storm Shield app so you are aware of the weather that's coming our way throughout the day tomorrow. Looking ahead today, though, things are going to be fairly nice. We're starting with those temperatures in the 60s. By about 2 p.m. we'll be into the low 80s with mostly sunny skies, and then partly cloudy for most of the afternoon and early evening. Those temperatures dropping overnight into the low 60s again. Our daytime high today right around 82 degrees, and then tomorrow that's when we have those storms moving back into the forecast. 85 on Tuesday, continuing to see some storms possible Wednesday, and then by Thursday possibly some storms, better chance of just some heavy rainfall as a cold front sweeps through. The good news with that, though, is it's going to leave some cooler air behind it, so temperatures will be into the 70s with dry conditions Friday and Saturday.
All right, ALYSSA, thank you. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the road starting your work week. Here's a live look at I-465 near West 10th Street. You can see traffic there is traveling up to speed both northbound and southbound. No crashes here to slow you down. Raphael?
So Indy 500 champion Takuma Sato hoping to make it 2 weekends in a row with wins. So let's get you right to the action. The drivers are back on the track at the Worldwide Technology Raceway near St. Louis for a doubleheader on Saturday. And just as the flag would wave, a crash would send out a caution. Oliver Askew, Simon Pagenaud, Alexander Rossi, and Marco Andretti included in the pileup. They'd have to sit out the rest of the race. But the final laps of the race would prove to be the most exciting. It'd be a dash for the checkered flag for Scott Dixon and Takuma Sato. It would look very familiar to last weekend's Indy 500. Dixon holds off Sato by, get this, 1,000th of a second in the second closest finish ever at that track. The race marking the 50th win for Scott Dixon. Congratulations to him. Now on Sunday, Dixon would look to sweep the weekend and win number 51. Takuma Sato looking to make up Saturday's lost ground. He'd lead the first 59 laps of the race before getting stuck in traffic and ultimately hitting the wall with 4 laps to go. It'd be defending NTT Series champion Joseph Newgarden and Pato Award with a race out of the pits to win. Newgarden gets his second win at Gateway under caution following the race, and he had some good things to say about Award.
It was really fun racing Pato out of the pit. That was for the win right there, was that race. We went side by side out of the pit exit. He did an amazing job. He's really he's going to do great things, I think, in this sport.
Sunday was also the final race for Tony Kanaan's TK's last lap tour, where he completed in all of the oval races this season. TK says he's hopeful to come back for the Indy 500 next year for a proper last lap with fans. Our other favorite, TK. The NTT IndyCar Series heads back to Indy for the next 2 races. It'll be a doubleheader on the road course on October 2nd and 3rd. The season will then wrap up on the streets of St. Pete on October the 25th. Lauren?
All right, Raphael, well, after considering a late start due to the pandemic, the U.S. Open will kick off today as scheduled. Other big tennis champions leading up to this have been canceled or postponed, like Wimbledon and the French Open. The spectators will not be allowed at the matches this year, and one player had to drop out because of a positive COVID test. The Open is being held at the Billie Jean King Center in New York City, where a temporary hospital was set up earlier this year for COVID patients.
So, Lauren, what would you do when you have a lot of free time? You don't, because you have baby Archie. But if you ask this penguin, because of course you're a penguin talker, he'll say YouTube. Of course he would. We'll explain his streaming habits right after the break here on Good Morning Indiana. So an endangered rockhopper penguin named Pierre is being cared for at the zoo in Perth, Australia, has taken to watching videos of other penguins online, and here's why. Since he doesn't have any other rockhoppers to play with in Perth, his caretakers pull up videos so that Pierre can see other penguins. According to the zoo's Twitter post, rockhoppers are one of the rarest penguins in the world. The zoo says it's now working with colleagues around the globe to help Pierre find a new place to recover and make new rockhopper friends. That's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that is kind of cute. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like zooming. I mean, we're all virtually connecting these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Well, I don't know if the penguins would like the weather we have right now. It's still the middle of summer.
Good. Yeah, it's not good penguin weather out there, but it's good human weather, I think. Temperatures are going to be into the low 80s this afternoon. You'll notice a little bit more humidity, especially by the afternoon hours. That humidity really will build tomorrow, though. It's just not going to be as dry as it was yesterday. Not quite as comfortable. Still going to be a nice day to get outside. 82 for our high, mostly sunny. We'll see a little bit more cloud coverage as we head through the day, but peaks of sunshine will be in there as well. Looking ahead, Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when we see some changes. Storms move in late Tuesday and into the evening. That's when we have the potential of some severe storms, and then potential of some lingering storms Wednesday and into Thursday before things calm down for the weekend. That's when we're much cooler as well. Those temperatures dropping back into the 70s.
Alyssa, thank you. The fight over prime real estate continues in Indianapolis this morning. New at 6 o'clock, the city agency hoping not to lose property, and the offer that one man is calling questionable.
And like many others, a Greenwood restaurant took a big hit during the pandemic. In about 20 minutes, I'll show you how they managed to create a new recipe for the future. It is 5:58. Stick around. We'll be right back.